The brewery is one of the big draw cards for me to come here. You know, it's no secret. A lot of people know that I've moved across the country to come here and start up a new brewery with Scott, Tony and Jane. So the kit that I'm leaning on is a massive part of that. You know, to come and work on a brand new Premier Stainless unit was massive for me. The company's US owned, so Premier Stainless have been brewing or building brewing equipment for a long time now, and they're one of the more well-renowned industry leaders in what they do from the States. So, and there's a lot of them popping up in and around Australia right now. So there's a couple in Brisbane that have gone in recently as well, other than ours. That was massive. You know, they know what they're doing. You know, the Chinese are building good gear these days, but they're not. That's not their profession. You know, they're morphing into it, but it's not what they do and not what they understand. So while most of this is built in China, it's all like I say, designed by guys that know and build breweries for a living and have been doing it for a long time. So it's super well set up. You know, you won't be able to see a lot of the valve bank behind me. It's something that used to frighten me back in my winery days, looking at something like this and see about 15 valves in front of me. But you know, I love manual brew houses. I'm not a big fan of automated brew houses. I think you can learn your trade, you learn your craft better. Again, these are just my opinions, but I think you can become a better brewer by brewing on a manual brew house. You learn to brew by feel a bit more. You're more in touch with what's happening, what's going on. You know, I've always got my head in the mash tun. You know, some brew houses they'll lock down automatically. You know, we're talking bigger kit here, but where you press a button on a computer screen and off it goes. You know, I would never want to work in anything like that. Yeah, I guess my pride and joy, it's not mine, I didn't pay for it, but you know, I get pretty stoked when I get to come here in the mornings and fire it up and make great worts. You know, it produces really nice clean worts, and run-off times are great. The steam side's great, we're on top of that now, so we're getting great, really vigorous, aggressive boils out of it, which I love and is very important. We've got a grist case there that we've just learnt its limits are about 500 kilos. You know, we've just mashed in Zeus the other day, so that's about 512 kilos off the top of my head, and we had to push some of that around to get it all in there, so we can hold half a tonne in the grist case. It's all got up into the top of the mash tun. Just that's, I guess, a little bit automated, so we don't, you know, do what I used to do where we mash in by hand. You know, where you get up on top of the brew house and throw in 15 bags of malt by hand and stir it all in. So I'm a little bit spoilt in that regard. And I'm getting older too, so I appreciate it. It's a standard 2-vessel brew house, so we've got a combination mash lauter tun, which is very common. You know, some of the guys are going with 3 vessels these days, but and running a whirlpool or a mash and lauter tun. To me, I don't see the need. You know, I think it's just overcomplicating things, or unless you want to push out big numbers, big volumes. So we're not volume focused, so that's why we've gone with the 2-vessel system. The kettle, like I touched on before, is steam heated. You might be able to see the sink up there. You know, the sink is a work of art and caused us a little bit of confusion when we saw it coming out of the sea container, but we can attemperate our own our wort samples up there. There's a tube up there that we can run mains water through, which is not great in a Queensland summer. But yeah, I can cool my samples up on the brew deck, check all my gravities, all my pHs up on the deck. Yeah, I can only get it to about 33 degrees in summer because the mains water temperature is not overly cool here from November to March. But you know, that in itself is, yeah, a pleasure to work with. Again, probably just out of shot, we've got a nice little trub filter in here, so to keep all our suspended solids out of the heat exchanger, which, you know, now when I caustic wash the heat exchanger post brew days, you know, I don't get a big slug of liquid that goes a very deep browny red from all the hop debris that's trapped in my heat exchangers. So that's a pleasure as well, and I've also worked out that I can block that up with about 6 kilos of hops in the kettle, so now I know where my limits are. Re-hop load. We've got 5 fermenters. We've got 2 singles at 1800 litres, and we've got 3 doubles at 3600 litres. We've got a hot and cold liquor tank, both at double capacity, so they're also about 3600 litres, and we've got 2 bright beer tanks. So we've got a single at 18 hex and a double at 36 hex. Yeah, it's simple, it's great, it's clean, it does everything it needs to do, and it does it really well. A pleasure to work on it. And again, yeah, I'm glad I made the decision to come here and work on it for these guys and make some great beers.